What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Yesterday, I did a video about Saul Canelo Alvarez, 30 days out. September 14th is vastly quickly approaching, and I'm looking forward to this fight and the two main events that we have on that fight. Um, I did my video about Canelo, so now it's time for my Mayweather video. Mayweather also released this picture, him weighing in 30 days out from the fight. His big fight was Saul Canelo Alvarez, and Mayweather weighed 150 pounds, zero point 0.3 ounces. So both fighters look like they're in shape from recent pictures that I've seen. Both look like they're on target. Obviously, Canelo being the bigger man in terms of just naturally bigger, has more weight to lose because he gains more weight. His walking around weight is a higher weight than Floyd Mayweather. I don't really think that's arguable. I don't really think there's any mystery to that. I mean, if you look at the guy side by side, see each other, their necks, their arms, Canelo just looks physically bigger. However, in the sport of boxing, the great thing about being a superior athlete and thinker like Floyd Mayweather is size doesn't always matter. We've seen that most recently with Floyd in the Victor Ortiz fight. Arguably, the Robert Guerrero. Guerrero looked pretty big too in this fight with Floyd Mayweather as well, even though he hasn't been fighting at welterweight for that long. However, it should be a good fight. I also want to explore a couple things in this video. So I want to delve into the idea of Canelo fighting at a catchweight 152. That's where he's fighting Mayweather. Both fighters agree, and it is what it is. This is the fight that they're fighting. This is the weight that they agreed to fight upon, and that is the fight at hand. I can already hear excuses being made for, oh, I feel bad for Canelo. He's going to be drained. Oh, Mayweather's a hypocrite because Pacquiao fought at catchweights and he called him out for it. Let's take a look at that particular scenario and situation. Let me break it down for you guys because some of you guys are just very narrow-minded, and I don't know, were you guys good at math? Some of you, I don't know if you're good at math because it's simple mathematics. Let's look at it in everything I'm saying is absolutely true. Look it up if you don't believe me. The point in which Floyd Mayweather is fighting Canelo is grossly different than Pacquiao and his catch weights. Keyword catch weights. So for starters, Manny Pacquiao has fought most of his big fights at some weight advantage, be it his opponent had to come up in weight, i.e. Marquez Part 3, where Marquez jumped up 2 weight classes to fight Pacquiao, be it Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley, and that was a loss technically, even if you think Pacquiao won. Timothy Bradley moved up from the 148 division. He pretty much cleaned that up and was the last man standing. Moved up to 147 and fought Manny Pacquiao. The only person Bradley didn't really fight is Khan, who called him out, and he did that for whatever reason. Other than that, most of Pacquiao's big name fights, his marquee names in recent memory, stem from catchweights. Miguel Cotto, catchweight. Oscar De La Hoya, catchweight. Antonio Margarito, catchweight. These are his big names. The only person that wasn't is possibly Ricky Hatton. I don't think they fought at a catchweight. And that's the thing. If Floyd Mayweather decides for his remaining 4 fights or however many fights he has left with Showtime after the Canelo fight to fight them all at catchweights, or he fights that many of his fights at catchweights, I will say absolutely, unequivocally the same thing. I don't agree with catchweights. Now, some of you guys are so shallow and stupid you can't even see it. Andre Ward, his best wins have not all been at a catchweight, but a recent significant win was at a catchweight, and that was against Chad Dawson, and then he hurt his shoulder, went through surgery, and we've yet to see him return. So, if Andre Ward continues fighting multiple big name fights, his best wins or his marquee wins at catchweights, I will say the same thing. It really doesn't matter. Catchweights are catchweights. If you're abusing them, it's just like anything. Like, I'm not even trying to get too political on here because I usually don't do that. But if somebody has an abortion, they have one abortion, it's one time, it's just some freak situation, and they feel like that is the best solution for me. I'm not here to judge or tell you my thoughts on that. However, if they did it one time, it's clearly different from someone who does it all the time and has abortions just because they use abortions as a form of birth control. The point being is, if you take something that's already questionable, like, or debatable, I guess you could say, like an abortion or a catch weight. Some people are really anti them, some people aren't bothered by them. So you take something that's debatable and then you abuse it, then it becomes repetitious, then it becomes a pattern. I think that's what Pacquiao did. Pacquiao generally has some sort of weight advantage. Again, opponents coming up to fight him or catchweights with his big recent names. That's why a lot of people have a problem with it. So to call Mayweather fighting one fighter at a catchweight, I don't think is the same thing. Again, Chad Dawson, Andre Ward took place at a catchweight. If Andre Ward makes a pattern of it, I will say the same thing. If Floyd Mayweather makes a pattern of it, I will say the same thing about him. It's not like, oh, I'm only defending Ward, I'm only defending Mayweather. It's the facts. Pacquiao, I feel, abused that. Like, he did it a lot in his big fights for whatever reason, and he gets credit for him. Mayweather oftentimes has been the smaller person, whether it was Diego Corrales way back when, or if it's been somebody like Miguel Cotto or Victor Ortiz, arguably Robert Guerrero. I mean, he's been the smaller guy, and most of those fights that I just named, none of them were done at a catchweight. So I think that's why Pacquiao gets slack. Some people keep trying to make a point by saying, hey, Canelo's going to be drained. Another fact, Canelo is 23, I believe. He just turned 23 recently. He is very young and he's very flexible. Anytime you are young, you can typically do more things with your body. Like, when I was young, I used to like Van Damme movies. I could basically do the splits. Me now, I can't even come close to going as low and fucking stretching like I used to. I mean, things happen with your bones, with your body, with your mass, everything. Things happen. Point being, when you're younger, you usually have more flexibility. You can usually run your body ragged. I mean, look at a lot of people, non-celebrities. I say that because some celebrities don't know when to leave the party life. Some of the stuff I did in my early 20s when I was partying, I don't think I could actually do it. I require more sleep now. I used to stay out till 5 a.m., have to be at work at 6:15. And then I would go to work, be there on time, work a full 8 hours, and then work a second job or go to the gym, or I was going to school, going to college. I mean, I did stuff like that when I was going to college and bounce right back. And it, you know what I mean, didn't really affect me. And I wasn't fucked for the week. If I did something like that now on a regular basis, like, it would be a different ball game. I'd be so groggy, cranky, tired. I'd just be lethargic and dragging. Whereas when I was younger, I could do a lot of like partying and staying up late all the time, and it really had no effect on me. So again, point being, Canelo is so young, he has more flexibility with his body. That's one thing. Look at Pacquiao and his opponents. Pacquiao fought Oscar De La Hoya, who was born in 1973. Like, 1973. So when he fought Pacquiao, he was 35 fucking years old. 35. And on top of that, he had been to the Olympics. And on top of that, he's mixed it up with everyone. Floyd Mayweather, he took an L. He lost to Bernard Hopkins in his last 10 fights. He's been in there with a lot of different people. He's been through the wars with Shane Mosley, fought Chavez Sr. I mean, this guy has been around for the evolution of boxing in different generations. He's seen fighters like Fernando Vargas come and go. He's been there with the up-and-comers. Now he's doing his promoting thing. This guy was 35 years old. So him doing that to his body and starving himself to make weight wasn't necessarily a good look. Another thing, when you use De La Hoya, Pacquiao became a sensation for disposing of De La Hoya in a manner that even Floyd Mayweather didn't do, because Floyd Mayweather went the distance in a split decision win over De La Hoya, whereas Pacquiao stopped De La Hoya. But again, look at the actual context of the fight. Again, De La Hoya was 35 years old and he was fighting at a catchweight. He had no business trying to make that weight. He was sucked up. He was dry. He looked horrible. And another thing, another indication of that, De La Hoya never fought after the Pacquiao loss. It's because he knew he was getting up there and he probably couldn't compete or make it weight was a task, and he stopped fighting. That was in 2008. Canelo, he's 23 years old. If Mayweather beats him, if Mayweather knocks him out, he still has a career. That one loss to Floyd Mayweather is nothing to hold your head down about, and he could still do damage in his weight division. Because if someone's not bringing everything that Floyd Mayweather does bring to the table, then they might be for the taking. So Canelo's career is not over. Some people, you don't put things in perspective. Look at some of a fighter's best wins and then what happened to their opponent after the fight. Like Canelo fought Kermit Cintron. What happened after that? Yes, Kermit Cintron has a name, but at the same time, where was Kermit Cintron after that particular fight? He just vanished for a long period of time. That lets you know where they're at in their career. Look at Carlos Baldomir after Canelo fucked him up. What happened to Carlos Baldomir? Look at Antonio Margarito after Pacquiao fucked him up. He fought Cotto in a rematch, lost that, and retired. You know what I'm saying? So you're comparing apples and oranges, apples and fucking kiwis, apples and pizza. Like, these aren't similar situations. One, because Mayweather is not fighting a vast majority of his catch weights, or his best wins haven't all taken place at catch weights or weight advantages. Two, look at the position in which those opponents have fought. Again, Oscar De La Hoya retired after he fought Pacquiao. Antonio Margarito fought one more time and then retired. That's where they're at in their career. So again, them fighting at catch weights is not an ideal situation for them. They're older. They're 33, 35. They're older fighters versus Canelo, who has never even really taken a severe beating. Canelo has not had a fight like Shane Mosley had with Oscar De La Hoya, where he just really took a beating. Canelo's never been stopped like Oscar De La Hoya got stopped by Bernard Hopkins. He hasn't had those type of fights. He had to make several adjustments in certain fights like Alfonso Gomez, but he didn't just take a beating, and that was from a smaller man. Josito Lopez, he didn't take a beating. Shane Mosley, he didn't take a beating. Austin Trout, he didn't take a beating. It was a closer fight than the official judges' scorecards. But my point being, he hasn't taken that level of punishment that some of these other fighters have taken. So you have to consider where each fighter is at the point in which they fought. Again, De La Hoya retired after he fought Pacquiao. Antonio Margarito retired after he fought Pacquiao. Again, Canelo has not taken that type of punishment where even if he loses or gets knocked out, his career is definitely over unless something, God forbid, happens where he can't fight no more. But I mean, if he just takes a L in a standard fashion, he can still fight. He can keep fighting. He's still young enough to bounce back from that type of loss. De La Hoya is not at that level in his career when he fought Pacquiao, where he could just take a beating and bounce back. He's already been in other wars aside from the Pacquiao fight. Same thing with Antonio Margarito. Antonio Margarito, at the time he fought Pacquiao, he was one fight removed from getting knocked out by Shane Mosley. And he's over 30. He's like 33 or 32. He's not at a point in which he can just easily bounce back like, oh, I'm going to rebuild my career now, even though I'm 33 and I don't have the fighting style that's going to keep me in the sport longer. So, again, people give Pacquiao praise for those victories, and they were at catchweights. I think that's the difference between Mayweather. The pattern that Pacquiao has created with fighting numerous people at catchweights versus Mayweather fighting one fighter at a catchweight out of his big wins, one fighter, and it happens to be a young fighter who's undefeated, has never taken a loss or even taken the type of punishment those opponents that Pacquiao has fought at catchweights have taken. When's the last time Canelo got stopped by Shane Mosley? They fought. He didn't get stopped by Shane Mosley. He dominated that fight. Whereas Antonio Margarito fought Pacquiao after Shane Mosley had destroyed him and stopped him. De La Hoya had been stopped a few fights before the Pacquiao fight against the Bernard Hopkins with the body shot. So, again, they're at different points of their career. They're different ages. Pacquiao was fighting older fighters, and on top of that, at catchweights. And Pacquiao's catchweights were more in favor of him than they were the opponent. The Canelo situation, Canelo was fighting 2 pounds away from the weight division that he already fights in. He fights at 154. He's fighting at 152 versus making someone who's naturally bigger come down like to 143 or 144 or whatever the situation. That's the big difference. So stop with the comparison unless you're going to be accurate with your information. It works like that with anything. I give everyone a fair shake. Victor Ortiz, I don't call him a quitter because he got his jaw broke and he quit in the fight. I call him a quitter because he's shown a quitter mentality in several fights. With Maidana, he quit. I don't deserve to get beat like this, and he quit. Against Floyd Mayweather, he got frustrated and headbutted. That's a quitter. That's like someone who's giving up. Instead of going to a plan B, he gets frustrated and he wants to do a leaping headbutt because he's frustrated. That's a quitter mentality. A winner is going to find that one hole that he, or that plan B, that second option that's going to get him to win the fight. Not let me possibly lose a point, or let me lose a point or get disqualified on some bullshit for headbutting someone. That's the difference between patterns and non-established patterns. Same thing with like a Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia in his best wins has not shown that he cannot make weight or that he always has a weight advantage. In the Juan Manuel Lopez fight, he could not make weight. I thought he would beat him if he made weight or if he didn't make weight, but it's something that the fans are going to remember. So going forward, if Mikey Garcia always comes into the fight not making weight, then people are going to hold it against him. Same thing with Floyd Mayweather against Juan Manuel Marquez. I love both fighters. Both fighters are exceptional fighters and exceptional talents, and we need both of them in the sport. People want to hang this over Mayweather's head. Oh, he outweighed Marquez. Yeah, but Marquez also jumped up 2 weight classes to fight Pacquiao and gave him problems, as opposed to getting dominated for 12 rounds. In addition, some of you guys, in order to reach and try to make your point, you take isolated instances and you want to say that this is what Mayweather does. He fights catchweights. You can't take isolated instances and say that's the person's whole demeanor. And I don't even think anyone's doing that to Pacquiao. Pacquiao has established patterns with some of these things, so people call him the catchweight king. So until Mayweather constantly fights at catchweights or fights the rest of his fights at catchweights, or until Mikey Garcia constantly has his best wins with weight advantages and not making weight, then I'm not going to say Mikey Garcia never makes weight. It's not true. You can't take one isolated instance and act like that's what it is. In the Orlando Salido fight with Mikey Garcia looked exceptional in that fight too, and he made weight. So I'm not going to say, oh, Juan Manuel Lopez, because he didn't make weight one time, that this is what he's about and this is his MO, unlike Pacquiao. So stop with the comparisons of the catchweight. As far as Canelo, he's a big dude. If losing the extra 2 pounds at age 22, 23, because he was both ages during this training camp, is that hard for him? Then that goes to show you that he's struggling too much to stay in a weight division that's not really relevant for him. If that extra 2 pounds is just absolutely draining him like it drained Cotto or De La Hoya, fighters who had been through wars, who had losses, had stoppage losses, at age 22 to a fighter whose fresh legs has never really been rocked and stopped and all that type of stuff, then he's trying too hard to stay in a division that doesn't suit him because he's young enough to do it. Adrian Broner just went up 2 weight classes and is talking about going back down to 135 or 140. If you're young, you can bounce back, especially if you're young without devastating losses or anything crazy. So keep it in context. Leave an educated comment. That's really all I got to say. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego, signing off.